Within You is the Power. Inspired by Henry Thomas Hamblin. Written and published by Audible Aria. Henry Thomas Hamblin, 1873-1958, was a British mystic, author, and spiritual teacher known for his works on positive thinking and self-improvement. He founded the Science of Thought Review, a spiritual magazine that focused on the power of thought and its influence on one's life. Hamblin's teachings emphasized inner peace, spiritual growth, and the transformative power of affirmations and visualization. There is a hidden power within every person that, when used, can help them achieve greater and better things. Inside each of us there is a higher, greater version of ourselves, much bigger than the everyday self we know, just like a mountain stands tall above the flat land. The purpose of this audiobook is to guide people in expressing their inner powers of mind and spirit wisely, in a way that follows the natural laws of the universe. Now, there's no way to avoid the challenges of life. We can't trick fate or escape the big plan of the universe. Everyone will face their own difficulties, experience sorrow, and feel deep emotions. But no one needs to be defeated by life's struggles. Once a person understands their connection to the universal life and power, they live in a strong and safe place, built on truth, where life's storms cannot harm them. This audiobook doesn't promise an easy life, because if life were too easy, it would be a disaster. Instead, it aims to show how to become so strong that life feels easier by comparison. Life itself doesn't change, but the person becomes stronger. At the same time, it also shows how to avoid making life harder than it needs to be. Many people could avoid a lot of trouble and suffering if they approached life with the right mindset and acted in line with universal laws. Chapter 1. Infinite Life and Power. Now, man has limitless power within him, though he may not realize it. This power comes from the spirit, so it cannot be defeated. It is not the same as physical strength, willpower, or the mind. It is higher than these because it is spiritual. This power stays hidden inside a person until they are ready and developed enough to use it responsibly. Thought is a very strong spiritual power, but this is not the power being talked about. Through thought, a person can either connect to the universe's energy or cut themselves off from it. Thought is a powerful tool because it can either bring a person closer to the infinite power or separate them mentally, but not truly, from their divine source. Inside each person is a divine spark, their true self, which links them to this endless divine life. If they understand this connection, they can access this power. As long as someone doesn't realize their connection to this divine source, they can't use the power that's truly theirs. But when they do understand, they gain access to unlimited power and resources. This power belongs to God, but it also belongs to man. And it isn't revealed until a person is ready for it. Only when someone fully understands their connection to the divine do they become filled with this power. Some teachers worry that certain spiritual secrets are being shared too freely today, secrets that were once kept private. They fear that people who are not ready could misuse spiritual power. However, the writer believes this is unlikely. While strong-minded individuals may unknowingly use some of this hidden power to succeed, the harm they can do is limited and shouldn't be feared. There are some who misuse their spiritual abilities. These people are often called black magicians. While they may cause some harm, they eventually lose their power. Others search constantly for spiritual knowledge, reading every book they can find, but they never discover what they're looking for. Spiritual forces hold back the revelation of these secrets until a person is ready. When someone gives up selfish desires and stops using their personal will against the greater will of the universe, they become ready to understand their unity with the infinite. Surrendering to this greater will might seem like weakness, but it is actually the key to a life of immense power. Man has never been separate from his divine source. In reality, he is always one with the infinite. The separation he feels is only in his mind, caused by ignorance and disbelief. A person can never be separated from the spirit because they are spirit. They are part of a greater whole. They live, move, and exist in God, the universal spirit, and God's spirit lives within them. Most people don't realize how closely they are connected to the divine. Because they are unaware or refuse to believe it, they feel cut off from the inner life of God. However, this separation only exists in their thoughts and beliefs, not in reality. In truth, no one is ever separated from God. Yet, as long as a person believes they are alone, they will feel weak and helpless, as if they truly were. The moment a person understands their connection to the infinite, everything changes. They move from weakness to strength, from feeling lost to finding life. One moment they feel distant, weak and alone, but the next they realize they are a child of God, with all the power and privileges that come with it. They suddenly know that they are one with their divine source and can never be separated. They also realize that all the power of the infinite is available to them, and that they are destined for success. This shows how powerful a person's thoughts can be. Although thought isn't the same as spiritual power, it is through thought that a person either connects with the infinite or cuts themselves off from it. In a way, we become what we think. If someone believes they are separate from God, they will feel as powerless and miserable as if it were true. But if they believe they are connected to the infinite, they will find that this is gloriously true, and they are indeed a child of God. If someone thinks of themselves as just a physical being, they will live a limited material life and never rise above it. But if they believe they are a spiritual being, they will discover they have all the powers of the Spirit. Similarly, if someone believes their tasks are too difficult, they will struggle. But if they believe their work is within their ability, they will find it becomes easier to accomplish. Chapter 2. The Overcoming of Life's Difficulties. The real purpose of life is for people to gain wisdom through experience. This can't be done by giving up when life gets hard, but by overcoming challenges. God's promises are not for those who fail in life's struggles, but for those who rise above them. There is no promise that life will be easy or that we'll be happy forever. Yet most people are always chasing after an easy life, free from pain and worry. But no matter how hard they search, they never find what they're looking for. There's always something that spoils their happiness, or unexpected problems arise to ruin their plans. Life is full of contradictions. The purpose of life isn't to find happiness. But ironically, when we understand and follow life's true purpose, happiness comes to us without us even trying. People who don't understand life's deeper meaning spend years searching for happiness and never find it. It slips away like an illusion. Meanwhile, those who understand the real goal of life find happiness without even searching for it. In the past, people treated God like a quick fix. They thought they could just coast through life without learning anything and then pray to God to solve their problems when things went wrong. Today, many still hold this belief. But instead of praying, they turn to various teachings or beliefs, thinking they can escape their difficulties by demanding what they want from the universe. They believe this will allow them to live a good life, free of problems and challenges. But this is just chasing illusions. The easy life they seek keeps slipping away because it doesn't exist. The only life that feels easy is the life of a strong person who has faced and overcome challenges. Their life isn't truly easy, but it seems that way because of their inner strength. An easy life isn't possible. And even if it were, life wouldn't be worth living. The main purpose of life is to build character and gain wisdom through experience. Life will always be full of challenges for all of us. Most people are searching for an easy life, which they'll never find, so this message isn't for them, but for the wise and awakened people who are seeking truth, wherever it may come from, and who want to face and overcome life's difficulties instead of giving up. So the question isn't whether we'll face difficulties, but how we'll deal with them. Will we be victorious or overwhelmed? Will we overcome life's challenges or will we give in? Most people drift through life, pushed and pulled by circumstances. But a few realize that they have the power of the infinite within them, and with this strength, they can rise above their struggles, overcome their weaknesses, and gain wisdom through their victories. At this point, a practical person might say that gaining wisdom is fine, but what they really need is help right now. Maybe they're out of work, dealing with illness at home or in debt. Or they could be well off, but still feeling deeply unhappy and troubled. To anyone in these situations, I would say that you have the power within you to overcome these difficulties, and by doing so, you can gain wisdom. A person's success depends largely on their faith in life's good purpose, faith in the power of the infinite within, and faith in their ability to overcome any obstacle. The amount of power you can bring into your life depends on how much faith you have in that power. If your faith is small, your life will be weak and lacking in achievement. But if your faith in the power within you is strong, great things will happen in your life. The power of the infinite is limitless and always available. All that's needed is strong belief and trust in it. Even the weakest person can tap into this power. The difference between the timid and the brave isn't their strength, but their faith in the power within. Every life has difficulties and troubles, and sometimes disaster strikes, leaving us feeling like everything is falling apart. But by calling on the power within, you can rise stronger and wiser from these experiences. True happiness and success depend on how you face life's challenges. Everyone faces adversity, but if you meet it in the right way, even failure can lead to success. Trouble comes to everyone, but while it makes some people stronger and better, it defeats others. The difference is in how the trouble is faced. People who try to handle difficulties with only their limited human strength and personality are often overwhelmed and broken by life's storms, but those who trust in the power within can never be truly defeated. This power, being infinite, is always enough, no matter how big the problem. Someone who knows their true spiritual identity understands that they can never truly fail. Even if they lose their physical body through death, the true self can never die. Even if they are knocked down 1,000 times, they will rise again. Have faith in the spiritual power within you, and you will experience the joy of overcoming and achieving. Everything you need will come to you. Focus first on connecting with the infinite power within and aligning with the divine will, and everything else will follow. You won't have to worry about the future because you'll know that all your needs are already taken care of. There will be no need to hoard wealth because your daily needs will always be met. You won't have to rely on doctors because the infinite life force within you will be your health. You won't live in regret because you'll know that everything is as it should be. And there will be no fear of the future because you'll understand that the infinite power makes no mistakes. Chapter 3. Fate or Free Will. There has been a long debate about whether fate or free will controls our lives. Some people, called fatalists, believe that our lives are so controlled by fate that we cannot change anything about them. They have strong evidence to support this belief and are convinced they are right. On the other hand, supporters of free will believe just as strongly that we are completely free to make our own choices. They also have plenty of evidence to back their belief. Each side thinks the other is wrong, but they cannot both be completely wrong. According to ancient teachings, when a person is not yet fully developed, they are more closely tied to fate. At this stage, a person follows their desires, which leads to creating a future they cannot escape. But as the person becomes more evolved, they begin to resist these desires and aim for higher, better goals. This leads to a better future, and they become freer compared to their earlier state. So a person is a slave to fate as long as they are a slave to their desires, but they are free to rise above those lower desires and aim for higher ones. When a person does this, they stop creating a painful future for themselves and become free. So fate exists, but it is something we create ourselves. This needs to be accepted before we can move forward. Someone who hasn't had much experience in life may not believe this, but those who have faced big life changes, no matter how hard they fought against them, know that there is a purpose behind the events in life that no one, not even the most powerful, can control. There are times in life when a person does everything possible to avoid a disaster. They pray, sacrifice, and give up things like money, health, and future prospects. But despite all their efforts, fate cannot be stopped. It continues like an unstoppable force and destroys their hopes, dreams, or everything that gives their life meaning, leaving them feeling empty. So, if fate is so powerful and pitiless, what can we do about it? And where does free will fit in? The answer is that fighting fate is useless. The more someone fights it, the more they suffer. There are certain major events in every life that must happen, and it is impossible to avoid them. These events are what we call fate, and while we cannot stop them, we do have control over how we respond to them. If we respond to these events in the wrong way, they will break us. But if we face them in the right way, we grow stronger through the lessons and experiences they bring. This makes us better prepared to handle life's challenges and temptations. A person who faces life's difficulties, losses, and disasters with the right attitude becomes a stronger, more stable, and helpful person to others. They develop a deep character that benefits everyone around them. When life is going well and everything feels easy, it can seem like we don't need philosophy, religion, or any inner strength. Some people, especially those who haven't faced much hardship, may think they can handle life without these things, but sooner or later, everyone goes through tough times. In those moments, we not only need a solid understanding of life, philosophy, but also a strength we didn't know we had to lift us out of despair. It's one thing to know how to face problems with the right mindset, but it's another thing to have the strength to actually do it. Someone who believes that they have no inner strength and that everything depends on their circumstances will never be able to overcome their troubles. But if a person knows they have a powerful inner strength that can lift them up, no matter how crushed they feel, they will never fail in life. No matter what happens, they will stay strong, rebuild their life, and make it even better. It's also important to understand the difference between what's called big fate and everyday life circumstances. Big fate refers to events that seem to be destined beyond this current life, and the cause of such fate is not covered in this book. For now, let's just say that through time, we face the results of our past actions, and our future depends on how we handle life and its challenges today. Big fate cannot be fought against because it follows universal laws, but the way we respond to it shapes the rest of our lives. No matter how harsh fate may seem, we can still make our life beautiful. With the inner strength we have, we can rise from the ruins of our shattered hopes and rebuild our lives, making them even more beautiful and aligned with a higher purpose. Some who study the occult sciences might ask, what about planetary influences? Astrology suggests that a person's life is determined by the stars under which they are born. This is true only if someone chooses to give in to those influences. Throughout life, we encounter both good and bad influences, but these are just influences. If we stand strong during difficult times and rely on our inner strength, we can overcome life's storms and come out stronger. We can't stop these influences from affecting us, but we can rise above them. We may face failures and setbacks, but we can turn those into opportunities for success. We may experience grief and loss, but we can use them to build stronger character and reach higher goals. However, if someone gives up in the face of difficulties and refuses to rebuild their life, they bring more suffering on themselves and may ruin their life entirely. For those who feel hopeless, take heart. Believe in the power within you, and you can achieve things you never thought possible. With this power, even the impossible becomes possible. Our lives are not controlled by a random force that changes its mind, helping some and hurting others. Instead, the Supreme Being operates through fair and unchanging laws. This means that any disaster or trouble we face is the result of certain causes, usually our own past mistakes. These mistakes set off forces that are too powerful for human effort or wisdom to stop. However, because the basic law of the universe is love, the law of cause and effect is not meant to punish us. Its purpose is to guide us toward our highest good, which is to bring us closer to the divine, or in harmony with the infinite. By raising ourselves to a higher level of understanding and living in harmony with this divine force, we reduce some of the power of even the biggest challenges we face. We can't fight fate because doing so means fighting a force that is all-powerful. But we can lessen its impact by willingly learning the lessons life is trying to teach us. So, our future depends completely on how we think and act right now. We have the power to shape our own future. If we go against the law of love in this life, we create future suffering and difficulties, which will show up as painful challenges later on. But by thinking and acting rightly today, we not only improve our current life, but also create a better, more peaceful future than we've ever experienced. It's important to understand that even in this life, some big problems we face are the result of things we've done in the past. A young person may make a bad decision that brings serious consequences later in life, or someone might wrong another person, and years later, someone else wrongs them in the same way. It's the law of an eye for an eye at work in this world, but the great teacher showed us that through the power of love we can rise above these lower things and live a life of harmony and peace. Chapter 4. Cause and Effect. Man is responsible for the disasters in his life. He experiences exactly what he has caused over time. Life is completely fair and gives everyone the results of their actions. The difficulties we face now are the result of things we've done, possibly even in the distant past. So we shouldn't blame a random or unfair God for our problems. Everything happens because of a just and unchanging law. Once fate is set, it cannot be changed or avoided. If a person tries to fight their fate, they only end up hurting themselves. It's like running into a stone wall. The harder you hit it, the more you harm yourself, but the wall stays the same. Fate, though largely shaped by our actions, is actually part of the divine plan. So resisting it is like resisting God's purpose. But fate isn't meant to punish us in a cruel way. Instead, it brings the experiences we need to learn lessons we missed in the past, helping us grow wiser. The purpose of fate is to help us reach our highest good, even if it involves suffering and challenges. Since our problems come from past mistakes, it makes sense that our future depends on how we live today. If our past actions have created a chain of events we cannot escape, our future lives will depend entirely on how we handle the present one. If a person can learn the lessons of their current life and stop creating problems for the future, they are starting on the path to freedom. This is the same path that all wise and advanced souls follow. By doing so, the person stops being controlled by fate. Although this work doesn't teach reincarnation, it is based on the belief that humans are spiritual beings like sparks from a sacred fire. The spirit is immortal, meaning it has no beginning or end. It always lives. This life is just one of many experiences that help us build character. There is no real death, just a change from one form to another. Time and death are only ideas created by the human mind. People can't truly die. They can only leave their bodies. No matter what, a person continues on through time, reaping the results of what they have done. Now, people can't avoid or fight fate, but they can become free from it by living in harmony with divine law. Most of the problems people face aren't because of fate, but because they resist life's lessons or try to avoid the challenges they need to learn from. If they keep resisting, the same difficulties will keep coming back, becoming even harder, until they learn and change their ways. So, people have the power to improve their current life and create a better future by living in harmony with divine law today. Every thought and action has both immediate and long-term effects, although the full impact of our life isn't felt until after we leave this world. Many changes happen in this life as well. For example, how a young person uses or wastes opportunities shapes their adult life. Once missed, those chances are gone forever. Wrongs done to others tend to come back in reverse later in life. For instance, If a person selfishly climbs the ladder of success by stepping on someone weaker, they might later find themselves being treated the same way by someone stronger. In this way, we reap what we sow even within the same lifetime. The consequences may take years to show, but they usually come. Those who complain that life is unfair and feel mistreated only add to their own problems. Until a person realizes that the cause of their troubles is within themselves, they can't fix anything. The key is to change from within. Thoughts, goals, and attitudes toward life must all transform. When this inner change happens, a person not only improves their present life, but also creates a brighter and nobler future. Man must change. His desires and goals need to shift from hate and wrongdoing to love and goodness. Instead of being stuck in selfishness and harmful behavior, he must rise to better and higher values. But how can this happen? It cannot be done by man's own limited power alone, but through the infinite power within him. This spiritual power only becomes available when a person understands their connection with the infinite and believes that they can tap into this unlimited strength. Doubts, fears, and disbeliefs block this power from being used, even though it is always there. Just as machinery needs to be connected to the engine room to run, a person must connect with the infinite life and power to live a new, better life. This doesn't mean life will suddenly become free of challenges, difficulties, or hardships. However, the inner transformation stops us from creating unnecessary problems and suffering. Even when fate seems harsh, it loses some of its power to cause pain. The closer a person grows to God and infinite love, the less deeply fate can hurt them. Fate still plays its role, but it no longer wounds the same way. With a clearer, wiser perspective, a person understands that even painful experiences come as lessons to help them grow, not as punishments to destroy them. When a person stops resisting these challenges and welcomes the lessons they bring, fate loses its sting. Chapter 5. The Powers and Limitations of the Subconscious Mind. The subconscious mind is like the mind of nature. It has great power and intelligence, but lacks inspiration. It's instinctive, like an animal or natural force, but there's nothing divine about it. It belongs to the physical world and can be thought of as the natural forces within our bodies. This is the essence of the subconscious mind, yet some people mistakenly see it as something almost godlike. When guided correctly, the subconscious mind is a helpful ally. It turns repeated thoughts and actions into habits, which eventually become automatic parts of our lives. Through conscious, right thinking and action, we can form good habits that shape our character and, in turn, our lives. Therefore, it's crucial to use this willing and reliable servant wisely. It isn't a god, nor does it provide inspiration, but it can be very useful. Most of what we do is done subconsciously. That's why practice makes perfect. The subconscious learns how to perform tasks and takes over, freeing up our conscious mind. For example, learning to drive a car is hard at first, with every action needing careful thought. But over time, these actions become automatic. The same goes for playing an instrument. Many skilled musicians play complex pieces without consciously thinking about every note. If they try to remember the music, they might struggle. But when they let their subconscious take over, they play smoothly. Even while writing this book, I'm not consciously choosing every word. I think of ideas and form sentences, but my subconscious writes them down. If I had to consciously think about each word and letter, the process would be exhausting. The subconscious mind does even more for us by handling most of our thinking. If we had to think through every detail logically, life would be overwhelming. Instead, the subconscious handles much of this for us and can do so with great accuracy and no fatigue. The more we train our subconscious to handle routine thinking, the less tired we feel. The subconscious never gets tired, so we can't overwork it. It can take on more tasks if we give it specific things to handle. Someone who has learned to control their thoughts, who can consider a problem, think it through, and then let it go, can be far more efficient and experience almost no mental fatigue. Instead of stressing over problems, they hand them over to their subconscious mind, which works constantly, quickly, accurately, and effortlessly to find solutions. To get the best results from your subconscious mind, you need to provide it with all the information you have. The subconscious doesn't have special inspiration or wisdom. It works logically with the facts you give it. Think of it like a powerful, tireless worker in your mind. For instance, if you're a writer, speaker, or preacher, you can gather your notes and ideas, give them to your subconscious, and ask it to organize them. When it's time to write or prepare your speech, you'll find that your subconscious has already done the hard work for you. Similarly, a businessman who uses their subconscious effectively doesn't need to stress over planning. Instead, they can provide the facts to their subconscious, which will handle the planning more efficiently than conscious effort. Henry Ford's recent interview in Collier's magazine supports this idea. He mentioned that successful business people don't spend much time overthinking plans. Instead, they let ideas simmer in their subconscious, which then presents them with solutions. Inventors or people working on mechanical projects can also use their subconscious in this way, by summarizing the problem and providing all the relevant information to the subconscious. They can get answers or ideas without much effort. It might sound amazing or hard to believe, but using the subconscious mind isn't mysterious or magical. In fact, I'm sure that successful writers, politicians, and business people use their subconscious minds in this way, even if they don't realize it. Those who achieve great things naturally use their whole mind effectively. They handle big responsibilities easily and stay calm even in tough situations that might overwhelm others. These successful people develop strong focus and concentration. Anyone can improve these skills with effort. They dive deep into a problem, gather all relevant information, and then let their subconscious mind figure things out. While some people naturally use their subconscious well, most need practice to learn how. To train your subconscious mind, start by learning to control your thoughts. You should be able to start or stop thinking about a problem at will. Once you've given your subconscious the problem, stop worrying about it consciously. Next, gather all the details and understand both sides of the problem before passing it to your subconscious. This requires good thought control, attention, and concentration, which can be developed with practice. A simple way to use your subconscious is to think about the problem as you're falling asleep. Don't try to solve it or stress over it. Just present the main facts to your subconscious mind like you would to a lawyer. After that, let it go. Often you'll wake up with a solution without any extra effort. This is just one way your subconscious can help you. It's always working, turning your ideals into reality. If you focus on high goals and take energetic action, your subconscious will support you day and night, making success and achievement possible. Chapter 6. The use of the spiritual or superconscious mind. We've already learned that the subconscious mind, while amazing, is only instinctive and lacks true inspiration or originality. Inspiration actually comes from a higher level of mind, often called the universal mind or superconscious. Poets and inspired writers get their creativity from this higher mind. Although psychologists don't always recognize this higher mind, those seeking spiritual truth have known about it for a long time. What we get from the subconscious is based on the facts and knowledge we give it. In contrast, inspiration from the superconscious comes directly from a higher level of understanding. This higher mind, sometimes called the mind of illumination, allows those who access it to see and understand deeper truths, beyond what our senses alone can perceive. Our usual experience is limited by our 5 senses, and what we perceive is only a partial view of reality. The true universe is spiritual and infinite, while our sensory experience only shows us a small, often misleading part of it. By relying only on our senses and the human mind, we remain in a state of limited understanding. However, when we connect with the superconscious, our awareness expands beyond the physical senses. This spiritual level of awareness is accessible only to those who are finely tuned to its subtle energies. Achieving this higher level of awareness requires effort and self-discipline. It's not mystical or psychic. It simply means using more of your mind. Someone who taps into this higher mind doesn't become trance-like or clairvoyant. Instead, they remain a normal, sane person, but with the added benefit of using their mind more fully. This allows them to develop a unique quality of originality. To move beyond mediocrity and make significant contributions to humanity, one must draw inspiration from this higher mind. Those who align with the superconscious gain knowledge and wisdom that surpasses ordinary human understanding. They can see the difference between truth and illusion and choose the right path in life, leading to true success and fulfillment. All true wisdom comes from within us. Books and written material can be helpful, but it's our inner spirit that brings the words to life and makes them meaningful. When you understand that real knowledge comes from the divine spirit inside you, you're on the right path to true realization. Relying only on human reasoning can lead to disappointment because it's based on our senses, which can be misleading. This kind of wisdom is often incomplete. In contrast, when you follow divine inspiration, you might sometimes need to choose a path that seems against your best interests. However, if you trust this inner wisdom, you'll find that it often guides you correctly, and you'll be grateful later for having followed it. Chapter 7. Success. Now, success in this context means achieving something meaningful that improves the world and contributes to the common good. Even if our role in life is small, if we overcome our personal weaknesses, help others along the way, and do our work better than expected, we will live a successful life. True success is being able to look back at life with gratitude, knowing we did the best we could. To some people, success might mean gaining wealth and fame, but those who spend their lives chasing these things often end up as the biggest failures. While they may gain money, they realize it can't buy the things that truly matter in life. They may achieve worldly success, but at a great cost. As the greatest teacher once said, "What good is it for a person to gain the whole world but lose their soul? What benefit is it to succeed if it comes at the cost of happiness, health, joy, family life, and the ability to enjoy the simple beauty of nature?" Yet, humans must always strive for better things and try to express themselves more fully. A person who drifts through life without effort isn't living up to their potential. To be truly human means to always strive, overcome challenges, and grow. Failure in life is often due to a lack of strength in character, and only those with strong character can face life's hardships and come out stronger. A person who wants to live a life of value and achieve great things in service to others will face difficulties at every turn. This is how it should be because it filters out those who are not ready and rewards those who show faith, courage, perseverance, patience, cheerfulness, and strong character. Material success by itself doesn't bring lasting satisfaction to the person who achieves it, but it has value in other ways. For example, success that comes from serving others benefits the community. Without successful people of this kind, life would be much harder for the average person. Also, achieving success helps to build character. Anyone striving for success in life will face many challenges. Overcoming these trials strengthens character in many ways. However, even after achieving success, a person may still face temptations. Someone involved in the tough world of business or public life can become cold and unfeeling if they're not careful. This kind of hard-heartedness is one of the worst failures, even if the person is successful in other ways. People who strive for success often take on much more than those who are afraid to try and stay stuck in mediocrity. This applies to those seeking spiritual growth as well as those succeeding in worldly matters. Both types of people are entrusted with great power and influence, which comes with a heavy responsibility. If they use this power selfishly, the consequences can be disastrous. Those who climb to success face temptations that can ruin their lives and harm their souls if they give in. Life is a constant struggle. For most people, it's a fight with life's challenges which can seem overwhelming. More spiritually advanced people rise above these challenges but face more subtle temptations and trials. Anyone who believes that following a particular belief or practice will lead to an easy, problem-free life is mistaken. As someone grows and overcomes life's ordinary challenges, they will face new and more complex ones. Life is meant to build character through experience, not to offer simple pleasures. To succeed, one must be strong, wise, and patient. Those who want to make their lives meaningful, serve others more effectively, and build character by overcoming their weaknesses must look within for the strength and wisdom to do so. However, spiritual powers should never be used for selfish purposes or personal gain. There's an unbreakable law that has been understood throughout history, which prohibits using spiritual powers for wealth or even basic needs. Jesus himself followed this law when he was tempted to turn stones into bread. Had he done so, he would have failed in his mission, but he understood and followed the law. Today, many people are trying to use their spiritual powers in the wrong way, turning not just stones into bread, but also into cars, money, and property. These people are headed for trouble because they are going against the natural spiritual forces of the universe. The temptation to misuse spiritual power for personal gain, like wealth, fame, or admiration, is real. However, just like Jesus, people must refuse this temptation. They should focus on helping others, not on selfishly taking for themselves. Many are being taught to use their human will to force life to give them what they want, using spiritual practices to get wealth and power. These teachings tell people to meditate and demand what they desire. The message is how to get what you want, with a focus on taking, not giving or earning. This is another trick that leads people away from the truth. If someone's goal is to serve others and earn success through merit, rather than by selfishly misusing spiritual powers, they will find true success. Once spiritual power is awakened, people must stop focusing only on themselves and instead seek success through service, noble goals, and fair dealings. When using spiritual power, it must always be done with love. If it's used for selfish reasons, it will harm the person using it. The power should not be controlled by human will alone. Instead, people should seek to align themselves with the greater purpose of the universe. Every life has a divine purpose, and true success is found by living in harmony with that cosmic plan. This doesn't mean that success is bad or that people should fail. The universe itself is always succeeding, and man is meant to succeed as well. However, ambition should be balanced with wisdom and aimed at benefiting others, not just oneself. It's natural for people to want to improve their lives, and there's nothing wrong with achieving moderate success if it comes from becoming more skilled and serving others better. It's also natural and good for someone in difficult circumstances to want to improve their situation, to provide a better life for their family. As long as their ambition is balanced and focused on helping others, this is a worthy goal. But if someone lets their ambition get out of control, they will lose the true joys of life. In the end, they may realize too late that chasing too much success has actually led to failure. The writer believes that we must always keep moving forward, achieving and overcoming challenges. One of the main laws of the universe is progress, so staying in one place is harmful. We must keep striving, even though we may later realize that some of the things we worked hard for weren't truly valuable. However, each effort teaches us important lessons and prepares us for bigger things in the future. By experiencing failure and disappointment, we eventually gain real knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. The wisest path is to be satisfied with modest material success and focus on higher, more meaningful goals. Success doesn't just fall into your lap. Those who succeed work hard while others rest. The idea that success will come without effort, just by thinking positively or using affirmations, is wrong. Trying to force success through spiritual means or occult practices is dangerous and can lead to serious consequences. People who do this are headed for disaster. The only true way to succeed in life is by improving yourself, taking on more responsibility, and doing better work than before. When you serve others more effectively, you earn success. As Jesus said, It is more blessed to give than to receive, and this is true even in material life. You must first give value and work hard before expecting rewards. You have to grow beyond your current position to be ready for a larger one. Success reflects your personal growth and how well you serve others. It takes effort and determination to break out of old habits, but as long as your goals are good and not selfish, you'll find the strength you need. Achieving success, whether in everyday life or spiritual growth, requires qualities like imagination, courage, faith, persistence, and cheerfulness. All these traits exist within you and can be brought out if you believe in your inner power. However, it's important to remember not to use this power selfishly or to control others. Misusing power for personal gain or to dominate others will lead to terrible consequences. Instead, use your abilities for good to reach noble goals and help others. As you grow, you must keep moving forward, driven by a divine force pushing you toward greater achievements. Just as planets must follow their paths around the sun, you too must fulfill your purpose. Make sure your goals are based on eternal wisdom, as your future depends on it. Chapter 8. The Secret of Abundant Supply. It is a simple truth that our outer life reflects our inner thoughts. Our life is shaped by how we think in two main ways. First, our thoughts influence our actions, often without us even realizing it. This, in turn, helps us attract or create an environment that matches our thinking. Second, we give off a silent and invisible influence that affects other people. They may not know it, but they are either drawn to us or pushed away by this silent influence. So, if our thoughts and mindset are negative, we not only act in ways that reflect this negativity, but also push away the right kind of friends, opportunities, success, and other good things. The opposite is also true. Positive thoughts and a healthy mindset naturally attract all the good things that life can offer us. The Bible says, "As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he." It's also true that who we are shapes how we think, and how we think shapes our outer life and circumstances. So, who we are on the inside determines the environment we find ourselves in. This might sound a bit abstract, but it is really quite simple, and we see proof of it everywhere. Take a person from a poor neighborhood and put them in a nice home, and soon they might return to a poor area or turn their new home into a similar state. On the other hand, take a person with a positive mindset and put them in a poor neighborhood, and they will either leave or improve their surroundings. Put someone with no care for cleanliness in a nice house, and they will turn it messy. But put someone who values cleanliness in a simple home, and they will make it neat enough to impress anyone. Therefore, to change someone's environment, you first need to change the person on the inside. When someone changes their mindset and fills it with new goals, ideals, and hopes, they will eventually rise above their poor surroundings and attract a better environment that matches their new way of thinking. It wouldn't help to clean up a messy person's house for them, because they would quickly make it messy again. But if you could inspire them with a new desire for cleanliness and order, they wouldn't be satisfied until their surroundings matched their new mental picture. Often, a person's failures, problems, and struggles with poverty, whether real or relative, are signs of weaknesses in their character. They might have talent and plenty of opportunities, but without persistence or dedication, they fail in what they try to do and end up relying on their family for support. Such people might blame their situation on bad luck, but the real cause is within themselves, a lack of strong character. If a person's financial struggles and problems come from weak character traits like poor decision-making, inefficiency, or lack of good judgment, it means that for their situation to truly improve, they must change themselves first. The challenge with helping people who are unsuccessful is getting them to understand that they are the cause of their own problems. Unless they realize this, there's no way to help them. But once they accept that they are at fault, they can learn that there is a solution: self-improvement. They should look within to find their hidden weaknesses and work on building up their character, developing qualities like determination, persistence, patience, honesty, and decisiveness. As they strengthen these traits, they will notice their life circumstances gradually improve. Everything begins within. Change must start inside us before it appears outside. Looking deeper into this idea, it's important to understand that everything starts with the mind. We've already seen how a person's thoughts and character shape their life situation. Now, let's think about the mind that is limitless. The entire universe, which is infinite, comes from the divine mind and exists within it, just like you can hold a mental picture in your mind. God's universe, as imagined in the divine mind, is perfect. We see it as imperfect because we only perceive a limited version of this perfection through our senses. Our minds then create an imperfect and limited image of it, which we project outward, mistakenly believing it to be real. However, the universe as it exists in the divine mind is infinite and perfectly whole. There is no poverty or lack in a universe that is infinitely perfect and complete in God's mind. Poverty and lack exist only in the human mind, not in God's. We can't explore this fascinating topic in depth here, but it's enough to say that true reality is infinite perfection. Therefore, there is no lack in reality. The poverty and lack we see around us are simply creations of the human mind. People who constantly think about poverty and lack are trapped by limitations throughout their lives. They can never break free from poverty. It follows them everywhere like a shadow. In reality, this poverty is just a reflection of their mindset and attitude. On the other hand, those who believe they have enough don't worry about having more. Their lives reflect their positive mindset. This doesn't necessarily mean they will be wealthy. Some people prefer a simple day-to-day life without wanting to accumulate wealth. But they don't worry about having enough because their needs are always met. Many people see having a lot of wealth as wrong. Personally, I believe that while some wealth is necessary for running businesses and managing projects, hoarding wealth is both unwise and unnecessary. Wealth can deaden the spirit. There is always hope for someone who has made mistakes. But it is very difficult, though not impossible, for a wealthy person to enter the spiritual kingdom. Some do manage it because they see their wealth as temporary and treat it as something they are only managing for a short time. Both hoarding wealth and living in poverty are unnecessary and are based on a misunderstanding. This misunderstanding is the belief that all resources are material, have a limited source, and must be competed for. The truth is that the source of all supply is spiritual and limitless. Someone who understands this truth doesn't fear poverty, and they also have no reason to hoard wealth, because they know their needs will always be met. Those who understand this spiritual truth often have little interest in wealth. They don't desire riches because they don't fear poverty. People usually crave wealth because they fear being poor and believe that having money will free them from this fear. But when they understand the truth, that their needs will always be provided for, they no longer seek wealth and its associated worries. Wealth is just as unnatural as poverty. Jesus showed this by choosing a simple life without poverty, and by his teachings in the Sermon on the Mount, he promised that those who trust in God would always have enough, but not necessarily wealth. Many people live with this mindset, trusting their spiritual source. They never become rich, but they always have what they need. Something always arrives just in time to meet their needs. Living this way requires strong and active faith, but it is as certain as the sun rising each day. To live a life without worry about money, you first need to understand the truth about supply. You must recognize that poverty and lack are false and not real. Only then can you trust in divine providence or spiritual laws that also work in our minds. You need to know that the universe is spiritual and that God is a spirit in which we exist. Because we are a small part of this whole, all our needs will always be met throughout time. There is always enough supply for our needs. Poverty and lack are not real. They come from a lack of faith, fear, ignorance, or weak character, and are created by the human mind. When we understand this truth, we must live as if we already have enough, thinking and acting with gratitude. This doesn't mean spending more than we have or getting into debt, but it means living with the mindset of abundance. Remember, this change in mindset must happen first and be firmly established before it shows up in our lives. Reaching this higher state of consciousness, where we know the source of all supply is spiritual and limitless, is not easy. It requires constant awareness, persistent right thinking, and a lot of effort. However, it's possible for those who are truly committed. By believing in God's supply and having strong faith, our lives change both consciously and unconsciously. Now let's look at this idea from a practical perspective, which is just as important. This teaching does not mean we should avoid hard work and careful management of resources. In fact, after Jesus fed the 5,000, the leftovers were carefully collected so nothing was wasted. This aligns with the universal law of not wasting resources. While nature might seem wasteful at first glance, it actually conserves everything when possible. So, saving and being careful with resources is a sign of a strong mind and character. Wastefulness is often seen in those who are struggling, while those who are better off tend to be more careful. Generally, a person who cannot save money may lack the discipline needed to succeed in life. Not being able to resist unnecessary spending shows weakness and lack of purpose, making success difficult. I knew 2 men who built their wealth from just a few pennies saved from their small earnings. The hardest part is always the beginning. If you can't get past the initial challenges, you may not have the determination needed for life's struggles. But once you get past those first difficulties, it becomes easier to move towards success. When you understand that there is an unlimited supply available to you, and you live with this belief while managing your current income wisely and doing your work to the best of your ability, you are on the path to prosperity. Anyone who truly believes there is abundance available to them activates a powerful law that will eventually bring them opportunities. However, many people get discouraged because they don't realize they need to live a double life for a while. They need to feel rich in their mindset while being careful and thrifty in their actual spending. Over time, their income will grow significantly. When that happens, if they are smart, they will live on only a part of their income rather than spending all of it. This approach allows them to have extra funds for charity, new opportunities, and expanding their ventures. Unfortunately, many business people miss out on great opportunities because they haven't saved enough due to excessive personal spending. As a result, they may have to bring in partners who not only take a big share of the profits but could also cause problems in other ways. While the source of supply is essentially spiritual, it often comes through material means. To access it, we need to earn it. We must give something valuable in exchange for what we receive in life. To receive, we must first give something that the world wants or needs. The secret to abundance is understanding that there is unlimited supply and living as if this spiritual truth is real. At the same time, we must work hard and be careful, just as if there were no spiritual supply. We need to offer something useful or valuable to the world and conduct ourselves with honesty and integrity. It's unrealistic to expect abundance to come without effort. It must be earned through intelligent and committed service. Chapter 9. The Use and Misuse of Mental and Spiritual Powers. Most people don't know much about mental powers, and even though they might suffer from unconscious negative thinking, they're unlikely to deliberately misuse these inner forces. However, if you've learned how to use these mental and spiritual powers, you need to be very careful. Misusing them can cause serious harm, not just in this life, but potentially for a long time, and it can seriously hinder your spiritual growth. Using your mind to control or influence others for your own benefit is very harmful, not to them but to you. It might seem like an easy way to succeed, but it actually leads to failure and problems. This kind of misuse is like black magic, which has very negative consequences. Even using your mind to influence others for their own good is not ideal. It might seem helpful for a while, but it doesn't bring lasting results. It's better to teach people to help themselves rather than using suggestion to try to heal them. Influencing others through mental power is harmful if done selfishly and not very effective if done unselfishly. Hypnotism, in any form, can be harmful and isn't always beneficial for the person being influenced. Many doctors now avoid using it for these reasons. We shouldn't try to influence others, even with good intentions. Everyone should have the freedom to make their own choices. The purpose of life is for each person to learn from their own experiences and mistakes. Trying to manipulate others for personal gain, like making them buy things they don't need or sign things they don't want to, is even worse. Misusing your mental and spiritual powers in this way will lead to your own downfall, as it goes against the natural laws of life in the universe. There's a subtler way of misusing mental and spiritual powers than through force or control. This method is just as harmful and can create a painful future if continued. Instead of influencing others, this approach tries to control the deeper forces of nature with human will. It involves making demands on the unseen stuff that everything is made of, trying to make wealth appear out of nowhere. People also claim that this method can eliminate sickness and make life smooth and easy, without any challenges. Practitioners enter a state of deep silence, visualize what they want, and try to make it happen just through their desire or willpower. Some followers might seem to succeed, but I've never met anyone who truly has. Even if they do, they're likely to regret it because they're engaging in what's essentially black magic or sorcery. These methods build up a debt of future suffering and hinder personal growth. While entering inner silence can be beneficial, using it to selfishly try to force life to meet our desires is a serious mistake that will lead to failure and trouble. Chapter 10. Overcoming Limitations and Awakening Inward Powers. You can overcome limitations by understanding and living the truth. Of course, you still need to take care of your body by bathing, exercising, and breathing fresh air. You also need to work hard and give your best in your job to be successful. Just like if you hire a gardener, you need to pay him with the money you've earned through hard work. You exchange your brain power for his labor, and both of you help each other. While doing these practical things is important, the deeper metaphysical side is even more crucial. To overcome limitations, you need to know and live in the awareness of the truth. For example, if you're dealing with poor health, you should focus on the idea of being whole and healthy. If you lack money, you should believe in the endless nature of resources. If you're unhappy or in disharmony, you need to align yourself with divine harmony so that it reflects in your life. No matter what your limitation is, you can find freedom by connecting with your divine source and understanding that all your needs are met in the perfect reality. Illness, aside from physical causes, often comes from internal conflicts or disharmony caused by negative thoughts and attitudes. To heal, you need to adjust your inner life to align with your true self and divine purpose. You must embrace love, control your thoughts, and focus on health and wholeness. Over time, this will lead to better health and harmony in your life. Your outer life mirrors your inner state. If you live with a mindset of health and harmony, you'll naturally direct your inner forces toward health. Conversely, if you focus on illness, you'll attract more sickness. The same goes for financial limitations. By thinking abundantly, you'll improve your situation, while focusing on lack will only bring more of it. Life's challenges don't have to break us. They can make us stronger. Our fate isn't determined by these challenges, but by how we handle them. If we give up or resist them, thinking they're just problems, we may end up feeling lost. But if we approach them with the right understanding, we can turn these challenges into opportunities to reach our goals. The first step toward understanding the truth is to think positively. Change negative thoughts into positive ones. For example, turn hate into love, fear into trust, and poverty into abundance. This isn't easy, but with practice you can get better at controlling your thoughts over time. Beginners might struggle, but they can still make significant progress and learn each day. At first, changing your thoughts might seem simple and not lead to much, but over time it can have a big impact. Practicing positive thinking helps you deeply understand the truth, not just intellectually, but in a way that frees you. Eventually, you'll feel lighter and more free, knowing that everything is going well. Humans have amazing, unlimited powers, but these powers stay unused until we become aware of them and connect with them. When we realize that we are spiritual beings, it's not wise to try to rush this development with mystical practices. Mystic trances, psychic experiences, and certain breathing exercises meant to awaken inner powers can be risky and are not needed. Being overly passive and open to any influence is also dangerous and should be avoided. Instead of these practices, spend a little time each night and, if possible, each morning, connecting with the reality of who you are. Understand that your body, mind, and soul are just tools or vehicles for your true self. This helps you connect with the eternal spirit, or what some call our Father in heaven. You can think like this: my body is just a tool for living and gaining experience. My mind is a tool that follows my will. My soul is like a cover for my spirit. My will is something I use. This way, you gradually get closer to understanding a great truth that can only be realized through inner understanding. You might also use positive affirmations like, "I am a branch in the true vine," with confidence. Over time, you'll feel a powerful and secure connection. This power comes with a big responsibility. It should be used to help others, not for selfish gain or wealth, which can lead to problems. When used correctly, it positively affects your life, often bringing unexpected blessings and happiness. By serving others, you'll find that you receive many blessings in return, including great happiness. Finding this truth will ensure that all your needs are met. This power can also help you build character, overcome inner struggles, and develop your spiritual self for higher experiences. Thank you for listening.